Good morning from myself and Frankie. Look at that handsome boy. Okay. I can't get on here without coughing. Sorry. It's gray and moist. It's gonna rain again today. The weather has been silly. I'm gonna go grab my cup of coffee. I'll be right back. Hold on. Frankie, what are you doing? Good boy. Okay, let's go. Jump. Good boy. You are my joy. You are my joy. Do you have something in your life that brings you joy? I hope so. I hope so. Because even if it's a thing like a hobby, or if it's a kitten, like somebody out there, or a cat, or a dog, look at this guy. He's just so proud. You know, I was thinking today about a post, and I don't know if y'all get the neighborhood app. If you look at it from an Apple app store, it's a free app, and it has a little green envelope square with a little N in it, white. So what you can do is you download the app, and then you put in your zip code, and then you can even select if you know the name of your neighborhood. You can put that in, and then it gives you notices from people in the area. You get a lot of other notices too, because some people, you can put in a radius of 1 mile, 5 miles, 20 miles. So you kind of know what's going on in your town as well. Anyway, I downloaded that, and sometimes people put a scripture or some photography that they've decided to share. Is very sweet. Or if they're rehoming a dog, etc. Lots of different things. They'll post yard sales or estate sales, things like that. Oh, and also criminal activity or suspicious activity. So I really like it. We've had some salespeople come through, and so they'll post about their experience with the salespeople. Sometimes they'll post ring recordings of something strange going on in their yard. It's pretty cool. I like it. I really appreciate it. And we have a very helpful community on there. And I like to participate, especially with some people that post on there. Anyway, someone posted, I am going to use this because it's like a moisturizer. That CoverGirl BB. Yeah, make it easy because I washed my face and forgot to put moisturizer on, so I'll just use this. Anyway, someone made a post about, because people have been rehoming a lot of dogs lately, and I understand. I was in a position a long time ago, and you know, I love my dogs. Whenever I've had a dog, I love them deeply. Well, I had to I made a decision to get one of my master's degrees out in Minnesota, which was a wonderful experience. It was total immersion for a year to get this master's degree, and it was exhausting. You had your school, full-time school, and your internship supervised hours all in one. So it was night and day. A lot of homework as well. And depending on where your internship was, it could have been heaven or hell or anywhere in between. So I had lined it up. They gave you a list of different places you could look for housing. And it being such a small community, if you weren't fairly wealthy, you were looking for a bargain. So I was renting a room from an elderly lady who was famous for her participation in renting rooms. A lovely place, big house on a buffalo ranch. They also made their own cheese there, processed their own buffalo meat. It was a wonderful experience waking up early in the morning. However, getting ahead of myself. When I first made arrangements, she said it was fine to have my dog. As long as I picked up the dog poop, it was fine. So 3 days before I head out, I call to confirm everything again. And she said, oh no, we can't have any dogs here. I was like, oh my God, what happened here? And so 3 days before I'm heading out, it was in December. School was starting January 10th, I think, or 6th. It was the first full week in January. And this was now right after Christmas. So I was driving from the West Coast, Portland, Oregon, to Center City, Minnesota. Well, I was dating a guy and was very serious. Matter of fact, he had gotten me an engagement ring. So he said, just leave Gordy with me and he'll be fine. I was heartbroken because, you know, if you've had a dog that was as special as him, you know, we all think our dog is special. The last thing you want to do is leave him behind. So anyway, it was the only thing I could do at the last minute. I was so sorry. So sad. And, don't make me close a curtain. Anyway, by Easter, you know how you have that intuitive feeling? God, and mine is fairly strong. And I'm not always right, but I have learned to follow through on my intuition because I'm very often right. I know this sounds terrible. So I opened up an account with some free dating app and put in the zip code where my boyfriend was. Supposed to be a fiance, I guess. And found out that he was on there. And where it put relationship status, he put complicated. Fucker. I was so mad. Oh, and it was Easter. And I was so lonely. So it sure gave me something to do that day. So I made a big scene. I called his mom's house because I knew they were all over there having dinner. And I asked to talk to his mom first, so I told her first. Then I told his brother, I think, and then I screamed at him. Oh, I just was so furious. But anyway, my dog was still with him, and I don't know how I would have done things differently. At the time, I was just so lonely, so disappointed. I didn't know what else to do. I felt so betrayed. I was gone 4 months into my year, and we were supposed to get back together. I was supposed to go back to that area, to Portland, and began working out there, and we were gonna further our relationship. So I was just so disappointed. So anyway, after a few months, I calmed down, and I think he started dating, I started dating. And anyway, I went out there to visit and catch up with some old friends, and got together, met him somewhere so I could see my dog. Because I moved into a house then. Oh gosh, I had to have been in late summer, early fall. I had moved into a house where I could have him. And when I went to meet him at this mall parking lot, my Gordy had gotten old enough that he didn't, and was losing his sight. He didn't recognize me. He was so content and happy with my ex that he didn't recognize me. It broke my heart. And, you know, my ex was very sweet about it. He was like, well, if you just spent a little more time with him and gave him time, he would recognize you. And I appreciated that. But he said, you know, I would really hate to lose him. So if you want to leave him with me, not only would I appreciate it, but you wouldn't have to put him through getting to know you all over again, especially when, you know, I didn't know where I was going to move to or live since he and I weren't together. After that, I didn't know where I was going to go. And he said, just let him live his life out with me. And so I did. Now, had he not been available, my point is about going back to that neighborhood app story that was posted this morning. I almost commented on it, but I have learned my lesson not to comment on things when I don't agree and when I haven't really thought out my thoughts. But so had I not had him to keep my dog while I was gone, I had a couple other friends that may have taken him, but I would have had to ask and look around for that. And had I not had any friends, I would have had to put an ad somewhere. I would not have canceled my education. Is that self-centered? I don't know. But also, I would have prepared myself differently had I known she was going to change her mind at the last minute. So, once I got out there to Minnesota, I realized why she changed her mind. She was going senile. This lady was old, and she was frail. And I was stressed because I didn't know when they were going to finally put her in a nursing home, because she had a large family. And I really didn't know. I was insecure, and that's another reason why I was really on the hunt for an affordable place to live. And when this particular house came open, it was a share with another student, I was so excited to get out of there and feel safe and to be able to get my dog. Turns out my roommate was bipolar, and when he would get depressed, he was kind of scary, to be honest with you. When he was on his medication, we were like best buds. I really liked him. When he decided he was feeling great and shouldn't be on medication, he got scary. He lived in the downstairs and I lived in the upstairs of this house, and we shared the kitchen. But he would buckle down in that basement apartment, which was pretty nice. And stuff would be going on down there, and I'd have no idea what he was doing. But I started having bad dreams about it. And then I ended up finding an apartment, and I tried to get permission to get a dog through an emotional support animal. And the only thing they would agree to was a cat. That was sad. Oh, God, I mean, I did everything I could. Now, had I been more prepared before I went out there, I would have made sure I could have taken my dog. Life happens sometimes. So anyway, in this post, it talked about the different breeds of dogs and what people are attracted to them, but then it gave a short description of how miserable the dog is because they don't get to do what their breed was designed for. And so if you're going to adopt a dog, understand it's for a lifetime, and you want to give the dog the kind of dog life they deserve. Well, here's a couple things that I decided from my experience. The type of human being I am, I need a dog. And I'll go to the shelter and I'll find a dog that I connect with. And I will give the dog the best life I can. And if someone thinks my poor dog's miserable because I don't take them running 3 miles a day, like he could probably go for a good 2-3 mile run once a day, or at least once every other day. I'm not gonna run that far. I'll take him on the golf cart and make him run beside the cart. Or I'll take him out in my front yard and run him up and down the street. That's what I do. But I'm not going to give him the perfect dog life just because of his breed. I got my dog for me, and he will go by my rules, and he will live my life. And if something horrible happens and I can't take him with me, I will try to rehome him or find a foster parent for him. The last thing I'm going to do on purpose is to get rid of my dog. So when people try to rehome their animals, I don't have to know them. I don't have to respect them. I don't have to agree with their reasonings. All I know is this dog was returned. I was his 4th adopter. And I know he's under 2 years old. He might be 2. Because I've had him a year. They said he was about a year when I got him. Right? So I know he's for sure under 3. Because they don't judge age as well. Sometimes. Huh. Yeah. So he kept getting returned and returned because he has bad behaviors. Behaviors people don't like once they get to know the dog. And I don't care what breed you have. Sometimes you get a dog that just has bad behaviors. He barks a lot. He is an instinctive watchdog, and he will charge other dogs. He doesn't care for kids. I don't trust him around infants because he's already killed some squirrels and bunnies. And that, with how little infants are, he doesn't need to be around them because he'll mistake them for a rabbit. I'm sure of it. And until they get bigger and can defend themselves a little bit, he's not going to be around them. I have to fence him off. So, is he the perfect dog? No. Am I going to return him? No. I'm going to do my best to keep him. But if you have to return an animal, my heart goes out to you. Because I've had to do it with a cat that I tried to save. And it was just too feral. It could be nice and sweet sometimes. And then other times it would, oh my God, it would just act crazy. And I would come home and you couldn't leave anything out on the kitchen cupboard because it would eat the whole entire thing, whatever it was. Foil, plastic, and all. It was insane. And it broke my heart. And the person at the Humane Society shamed me for returning it. And I've seen people try to rehome an animal because it didn't fit in their family. And on these apps or on Facebook or whatever, back when I did Facebook. And here would be like 30 comments or more, depending on where I caught it in the length of time it had been posted. And it would say, have you tried this? Have you tried this? Have you tried this? And rarely is that anything that the person needs to hear. Once in a while, there's a good idea. But when you have a dog that is, for instance, somebody has a dog that won't leave their little kid alone like this, and they're just like, I just have to rehome him to a nice place so I can concentrate on my baby. And people say, have you tried this? Have you tried that? Have you ever tried to raise a kid with an aggressive dog? It's stressful. And sometimes you have to choose between the person, the family, and a dog. I love my dog like he's my child, but I will not sacrifice the safety of, say, my child or grandchild. Won't do it. I don't want to live with, if that child was in my home. Now, because kids don't live with me, if they come to visit, it's no brainer. Of course, I'm going to put him in another room, shut the door, or put him outside and close off the puppy door. Because I love him so much. He's not going anywhere. You are mine. And if he doesn't have the perfect life, if I get to where I'm sick and can't take good care of him, but I can still feed him, too bad. He's my dog. I'm not getting rid of him. If you think he doesn't have not you, but that article made it sound like, I know it comes from a good place. And that's why I thought, you know what, I'm just not going to comment on that stream of comments because everybody was agreeing with them. But one person did say, well, then nobody would be adopting a dog because you adopt a dog because they're pretty or you connect with them. It doesn't necessarily always, people don't always think it through and adopt a dog that has the same kind of lifestyle tendencies that the person has. But they'll learn and they'll either adapt or they'll return the dog and get a different one. And I think that should be more accepted. If you have to return a dog, I'm behind you 100%. Don't make yourself crazy and don't make the dog crazy. It's always a better choice than trying to train the dog with aggressive manners or losing your temper at them and abusing them. You know, you'd never hit a kid like that. Why hit a dog like that? Or yell and scream at a kid or yell and scream at a dog. It really can bother their system. But I remember somebody saying, when I had Gordy, I lived in a condo and he got lots of exercise. I was a lot more active back then. I took him running with me at least a mile, but usually 2 miles. Almost every day, even if it was raining, because it rained a lot out there. But he spent 8 hours a day alone in my condo, if not 9. And he made a mess once when I first got him. And that's because I forgot I had a dog. It was like the first week I had him. And I was having a great time out with friends. And all of a sudden I went, oh, I got to get home to my dog. I forgot I had a dog. Oh, I felt terrible. And poor thing pooped. It was easy to clean up. Wasn't that big of a deal. But he never did it again. Poor thing. Oh, my God. I felt so bad. But from then on, I always went straight home. But I remember one time around that time, I was like, oh my God, I'm such a bad doggy mommy. I shouldn't have one when I'm gone so long. And I just don't know what I was thinking. And I was crying and upset because he was so important to me. He was like the perfect dog. And I had a friend say, I'll never forget it. I can't remember exactly what they said, but basically, screw what other people are saying. It's your dog. You figure out the best way you can with what you have to work with. If it was a kid, you would figure it out. It's your dog. It's your kid. You figure out how to best do this. You don't have to get rid of your dog because somebody told you, I can't believe you leave your dog alone all day long. Because he was the perfect dog. It was easy to fall in love with him. So I understood how people could fall in love with him and want to protect him and have the best life. Everybody wanted my dog. He was a border collie mixed with something, a Gordon setter, they thought, or greyhound, So he was just this gorgeous eye contact, and he had this telepathic empathy with whoever he met. He would just lean into him. I have lots of stories about that dog. He was special. Unlike this mutt. This is the most mutt I have ever had. He's just such a boy. But he loves me. He just loves me so much. I love this dog. So that's when I really relaxed into being a dog owner. I just think that dog spelled backwards is God and represents God's love. So do the best you can by them, you know? That's all we can do. Anyway, I gotta... Who's he think he is? Look at... Quit. What's he gonna do? He's trying to get my attention. Now he's found... Well, he can breathe me. My shoulder's on his nose. See what he does. Anyway, I have to tear down my bed. And it's an ordeal because I have layers and layers and layers. And I have to get him out of the room because he wants to jump up on the bed. Look at those choppers. Look at those choppers. All right. I just wanted to get on my pedestal, say what I had to say. So anyway, y'all have... Quit digging at me. I have old, thin skin. You're going to make me bleed if you're not careful. Ah! I love him. I'm glad you get to see him. Look at that face. Can you see him? I can't make the screen go in closer. He's so dark, it's hard to see his face sometimes. Look, he's got scratches on me now. Boogerhead. He's got claws. He could dig fast if he sets his mind to it. All right, crap. Laundry day, bed day. Cheers. I'm gonna go get it on. You ready to get to work? You ready? All right, so do something comforting today. Even if it's just sitting around watching TV with your baby. I'm gonna make the bed, then I'm gonna do laundry in front of the TV, catch up on some stupid shows, stay off the news. Good God, what is... If you put all the news channels on screens all along the wall, they're saying the same things on this array of TV news channels, and then you have this array of TV news channels, the left and the right, and they're all saying the same thing. Blah, blah, blah. Did you see that little advertisement? It didn't last very long, where they showed that, where they were put in sync all these different news shows where they're saying the same things. Goodness sakes, every single day, all day long. If you're a news watcher, consider giving yourself a break from the phone. Turn the volume way down. Check it once or twice a day to see if there's an emergency. Get off the news just for a day. See how it feels. Give yourself a break. That's what I'm doing. Oof. All right. Love you. Always glad to hear from you. Stop by and say hi. Leave a comment. Love that. All right. Bye for now.